65, I find myself increasingly avoiding people, and I wish to explain why. Reaching this stage of life brings about profound transformations in how one perceives relationships, time, and the very nature of existence. For many years, I was devoted to being present for everyone, be it friends, family members, or neighbors. However, over time, I came to recognize that not every relationship merits the effort required to sustain it. Now, at 65, stepping back from some connections is not rooted in bitterness or resentment, but rather in the preservation of my peace of mind, the valuing of my limited time, and a focus on what is genuinely meaningful. Allow me to share the lessons that have guided me towards this outlook. From the heightened appreciation of time's value as we age, through the natural evolution of relationships, to the discovery that solitude can be a wellspring of contentment rather than isolation. These are the insights that inform my choices. If any of this resonates with you, or even prompts reflection, you are in suitable company. Let us examine together how adopting these perspectives can lead to a simpler and more rewarding way of life. The increasing value of time. Reaching 65 brings into sharp relief the reality that time is not infinite. In one's youth, time often seemed boundless, and it was easy to fritter away hours on trivial conversations, unfulfilling relationships, or obligations accepted out of guilt. Such impulsiveness is no longer tenable. Now every moment feels precious, a gift no longer to be carelessly discarded. This change in attitude is not born of fear, but of wisdom. Time is no longer merely a number on a clock. It has become the bedrock upon which I consciously build my life. Each sunrise appears more radiant. Conversations with genuine companions feel deeper. And even quiet activities, such as enjoying a cup of coffee or a stroll in the park, hold newfound meaning. I have come to understand that not every demand or person deserves my attention or time. This is not selfishness, it is pragmatism. It is vital, as the years pass, to pause and consider, is this worthy of my time and energy? Does it bring me happiness or align with my values? If not, I allow it to fall away, for any time spent on that which does not matter detracts from what does. To embody this philosophy, I have simplified my relationships. I am no longer compelled to accept every invitation or engage in superficial conversation merely for the sake of politeness. Instead, I prioritize interactions that feel genuine, where my presence is valued and reciprocated. A meaningful conversation over tea surpasses the experience of attending a large gathering where one feels invisible. This approach is not about detachment, but about honoring one's life. I now consider time a trusted companion, urging me to slow down and appreciate moments I once overlooked. It serves as a gentle reminder to choose wisely, as every decision carries significance, and provides reassurance that releasing what no longer serves is entirely acceptable. For those who may share these sentiments, know that there is no standard prescription for spending one's time in later life. Focus on what is meaningful. It is not the duration of time that matters most, but how it is used. Guard it zealously. Fill it with purpose, tranquility, and the company of those who offer sincere upliftment. Treating time as a treasure transforms the entire complexion of life. 2. Relationships change. So do we. With the passage of years, both we and our relationships naturally evolve. At Sixta, I have come to accept a difficult yet liberating truth. Not every relationship is intended to endure a lifetime, and this is entirely natural. It is not a personal failure, but simply the progression of life. In the past, I believed that relationships required constant effort to sustain. I remembered every birthday, attended each gathering, and reached out even when emotionally depleted, equating self-sacrifice with being a good friend, neighbor, or family member. However, experience, sometimes lovely, often difficult, revealed that relationships are not all equal. Some nurture, while others exhaust. This awareness did not emerge overnight, but gradually, through times of both joy and disappointment, I have felt let down by trusted individuals, distanced myself from family members whose paths diverged, and mourned friendships that faded. In earlier years, I blamed myself, questioning whether I could have tried harder. Yet now, I understand. People change, myself included, and sometimes the kindest action is to let go. A particularly freeing lesson has been to invest in mutual relationships, those characterized by reciprocity. A healthy relationship does not require unending self-sacrifice, but rather it relies on balance. Does the other party support you as you do them? Do they listen as much as they speak? Do they illuminate your life or diminish it? As I have grown older, my circle of friends and family has naturally contracted. What remains is far richer and more meaningful. Those who are still part of my life are those who truly matter, who accept and understand me, and who bring joy to my days. I no longer expend energy maintaining connections that no longer reflect who I am. Occasionally, nostalgia surfaces as I recall those with whom I have lost contact or those whose lives have taken radically different directions. Rather than regret, I feel gratitude for the experiences and memories these relationships provided. They formed part of my journey, even if they do not shape my present. My advice: do not cling to relationships out of guilt or obligation. Like life itself, relationships are meant to evolve. Concentrate on those that bring peace and release those that do not. In so doing, you will find yourself surrounded by authenticity, love, and the types of connections that render life truly meaningful. 3. The complexity of trust. Trust is among the most delicate yet crucial elements of any relationship. At my age, I recognize that trust should not be granted lightly. It is a valuable connection, and its breach can leave lasting wounds. In younger years, I was quick to trust, instinctively believing in the goodness of others. Such openness brought about many rewarding relationships, but also made me vulnerable to heartbreak. Over time, I encountered disappointment, friendships built on self-interest, family bonds strained by conflicting choices, and professional relationships ruptured by competing ambitions. These experiences have not bred bitterness, but have cultivated diligence. Now, my default reaction to a new acquaintance is one of measured caution. It is not always a comfortable way to proceed, but it is, I believe, necessary. I have also learned that trust is as much about faith in oneself as in others. Trusting my own instincts, no longer dismissing discomfort as paranoia or overreaction, has been a vital lesson. I have withdrawn from toxic relationships, irrespective of their longevity, appreciating that safeguarding my own well-being outweighs the difficulty of severing ties. Trust, though altered, remains possible. On occasion, people still astonish me positively. A considerate stranger, a concerned neighbor, a friend who persists in kindness. Such moments restore my belief that trust, though fragile, can be re-established. The crucial factor is balance, setting clear boundaries without constructing insurmountable walls, and granting trust gradually, only to those who repeatedly demonstrate reliability, kindness, and respect. If you find increased caution in yourself as you age, understand that this is commendable. Protecting your ability to trust is a form of self-care, a sign of valuing yourself sufficiently to exercise discernment. In later life, this attitude is wholly justified. 4. The changing world. It is impossible not to see how dramatically the world has changed. Life now appears faster, more hectic, and heavily influenced by technology. Yet, for all the advancements, something irreplaceable seems diminished: warmth, simplicity, and genuine connection. I recall an era when neighborhoods were true communities, when neighbors became friends, dropping in unannounced to share stories and laughter over coffee. Families gathered not merely out of obligation, but genuine desire. Time together felt effortless and significant. Today, the pace of modern life often renders our interactions superficial, brief, and rushed, hastily snatched amid competing commitments and constant digital distractions. Even family relationships may be strained by geographical distances and hectic routines. Technology, despite its obvious benefits, such as video calls with grandchildren or reconnecting with friends, contributes to this sense of disconnection. It cannot replicate the authenticity of sitting with someone in person, experiencing their presence without a technological filter. Sometimes I long for a less complicated existence, free from the perpetual interruptions of technology. The ceaseless flow of notifications and updates can be overwhelming. Paradoxically, in an era of unprecedented means to stay in contact, many of us arguably feel more isolated than ever before. This is not a longing for an irretrievable past, nor a rejection of progress, but an affirmation that at this stage, I value simplicity above all. I deliberately step away from the cacophony, focusing on what truly matters: meaningful dialogue, valuable relationships, and the joy of quiet companionship. If you too feel this way, it is entirely permissible to slow down. It is not about rejecting contemporary life, but about deciding where to invest one's energies. By withdrawing from the relentless pace, we can preserve those sacred, authentic parts of life. Pursuing simplicity is not an abdication, but an affirmation of what is most precious. 5. Solitude as distinct from loneliness. There is a vital distinction between solitude and loneliness. One of the most liberating lessons I have learned. Whereas loneliness is an aching void, a yearning for companionship, solitude is a deliberate choice, a state of peace, reflection, and renewal. It is not to be dreaded, but embraced. In solitude, I have discovered a clarity, absent from daily busyness. There is immense beauty in simple, silent moments. Sitting on the porch with a warm drink, taking in the rustling of leaves, or watching the sunset. Such experiences do not merely pass time, they enrich it. Contemplation in solitude has become a source of reassurance. Rather than dwell on regrets, I focus on lessons learned and memories that bring joy. This quiet reflection paves the way to reconciliation with my own life, fostering gratitude for the person I have become. Solitude has also rendered my relationships more meaningful. It has enabled me to invest in connections out of choice, rather than mere habit or obligation. When I am with loved ones, I am fully present, appreciating every shared moment. Most importantly, solitude has taught me self-worth. One need not be constantly surrounded by others to feel valued. True self-esteem derives from within, from an understanding of one's own essence and needs. If fear of being alone has ever troubled you, reconsider. Solitude is not a penalty, but a gift. Through it, one may rediscover peace, focus, and the strength to live with clarity and intention. 6. On the avoidance of others, choosing to avoid certain people is not motivated by animosity, but by a desire to sustain my own peace. Experience has taught me that not all relationships are worthwhile, nor should every social obligation command my presence. In youth, I believed in perpetual availability, striving to be the ever-reliable friend, neighbor, or family member. Yet, such relentless selflessness eventually proved exhausting. I invested heavily in relationships lacking mutuality or alignment with my own principles. Life eventually impresses upon us the necessity of boundaries. There were times when my kindness was presumed upon, my time disregarded. I overlooked warning signs, believing loyalty required enduring unhappiness. Now I discern that stepping away from unconstructive relationships is an act of self-preservation, not selfishness. I have exchanged relentless social activity for the peaceful contentment of solitude, and now expend energy only on a select group of relationships distinguished by mutual appreciation and ease. These connections lack drama or competition. They are honest and effortless. I also eschew individuals who perpetuate negativity, thrive on discord, or seldom reciprocate concern. They no longer occupy space in my life. Prioritizing my own well-being may sometimes necessitate saying no or favoring solitude. To avoid certain people does not signify misanthropy, but rather a commitment to honoring my own peace and choosing relationships that enrich rather than deplete. Life is too brief to invest in what does not foster happiness. In following this path, I have found an unexpected freedom and happiness. 7. A shared experience. At times, I have wondered whether I am alone in feeling thus, especially as I have grown more selective with whom I invest my time. Yet in conversations with contemporaries, I find that my experience is far from unique. For many years, I strove to meet everyone's expectations, assuming various supportive roles. Eventually, I realized that such exertion left me diminished. Conversations with peers reveal a common theme. With maturity comes a desire for quality over quantity in relationships. Superficial connections lose their allure. Sincere interactions and genuine laughter become paramount. This transition is not always easy. It may feel as though one is relinquishing parts of oneself, and declining others' requests can seem selfish. In truth, it is an act of self-preservation. One cannot be everything to everyone, and attempting to do so leads only to exhaustion. By stepping back, one makes space for nourishing relationships and discovers that many others are making similar choices. It is not about exclusion, but about achieving clarity, focus, and well-being. Should you find yourself avoiding relationships that no longer uplift you, rest assured. This is not a failing, but an indication of growth, maturity, and respect for your own resources. The essence of this period of life lies not in the number of associates, but in the depth and sincerity of connections. If my reflections resonate, be comforted. You are in the company of many who value authenticity and simplicity. 8. Embracing this chapter. Later, life is not merely about closure. It is, above all, about renewal and opportunity. Each stage of life brings its own lessons, joys, and challenges. At 65, this phase is less about validation and more about acceptance, releasing what no longer serves and focusing on what is truly significant. There is a unique liberty in this realization. Previously, life was consumed by striving, urgency, and the pursuit of an ever-elusive future. In this chapter, the present assumes primacy. Now I find contentment in small joys, the morning sun, shared laughter, the solace of a cherished chair. These may seem trivial but contain deep richness, reminding us that life's true treasures often reside in its simplest moments. This is also a time for thoughtful reflection on the tapestry of one's existence. Every triumph and failure, every moment of sorrow or happiness has contributed to who I am. Reflection allows for the honest valuation of the past, without an unhealthy fixation on it. Importantly, this chapter is also about looking ahead with quiet anticipation. There remains time to embark upon new endeavors, cultivate new interests, or simply appreciate the present. Later life offers its own unique possibilities. What makes this phase distinctive is the freedom it imparts, the ability to disengage from situations that sap our strength, and to embrace those that foster serenity. It offers the courage to live with authenticity, free from the constraints of others' expectations, and the reassurance that one's presence alone is sufficient. If you are entering this period of life, I encourage you to embrace it wholeheartedly, relinquish the incessant noise and pressure, concentrate on whatever brings you contentment. Life need not be flawless to be meaningful. Often the deepest fulfillment is found in moments of tranquility and gratitude. Conclusion: to withdraw from others at this stage is not an act of seclusion, but rather one of safeguarding the peace achieved over a lifetime. Life at 65 provides the opportunity to center one's life on what is truly valuable, authentic relationships, moments of happiness, and a profound sense of calm. It is not about regret, but about adopting intentionality. This is a time to relinquish unhelpful connections, needless obligations, and the compulsion to meet others' standards. Instead, focus on simplicity, genuineness, and thankfulness. The experiences along the way, some painful, all instructive, lead to clarity and a sense of fulfillment. For those who feel likewise, remember that choosing peace over chaos is both valid and commendable. Prioritize yourself. The quality of your days, rather than their quantity or busyness, gives true richness to life. May this chapter be one of courage, profound affection, and the savor of each passing moment. Word count: approx 2,725 original approx to 900 within 10 to 15% range.